Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at XRP, quick look at Bitcoin, and we're going to have a look at EOS as well, because I believe that there's something that's going to happen with EOS. A lot of people think that I'm mad, but I don't think I am mad, but then again, who really knows? But before we continue, I just want to let you know that if you are trading on Binance, why don't you save a bit of money? You can do that by setting up a new Binance account. This one will give you, if you use my link or my code, you get 20% off all your fees. That would be for life. So basically every time you make a trade you get 20% back in the form of commission back into your account from your own fee that you paid. So save yourself a bit of money, set up a new Binance account. You only need to use verification with photo ID and things like that when you're buying and selling with fiat currency. If you're not doing that, then just set up a new account, save yourself some money for the rest of your life. Anyway, let's have a look at these charts. So before we look at the actual charts themselves, this is the Bitcoin dominance chart. We rejected from this level now, and what's happening now is we're coming down to test the top of this channel. So we were trading within this channel. We'll turn off this. No, we don't need that there. We were trading within this channel for the last couple of years, basically spotting when the best time to get involved in alts is and when the best time to get out of alts is. Now, descending channels, they break to the up, which is what happened here, and we got rejected from this level, which corresponds to here and here. So this was a nice area to get back into alts, and that's what we've done. We've been buying into alts, and now they're going crazy. Is this going to continue? Well, at the moment, I have no reason to suggest that it won't continue. We're testing the bottom of this range now, which used to be resistance. It's now turned to support. A very common thing, if you're new to all of this, old resistances will then turn to support, and this could end up being an area for it to bounce from, which means that altcoins will then, the alt season will finish and it will stop, and money will go back into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin goes up again. I am pretty sure. I'd say I'm more in favour of this breaking down, and the reason is that the indicators suggest that it will break down, at least in the short term, to come down to around about 64 or wherever this green 50 exponential moving average is on the daily. Once we break down below here, if we break down below here, then the alt season is going to go into hyperdrive. I mean, at the moment we're just seeing little glimpses of what an alt season is. If you're new to cryptocurrency, this isn't an alt season. It's nice to see, but this isn't the alt season. Alt season is where alts go crazy, and I mean 2, 3, 4, 5x's are not unheard of in a real alt season. So what we're seeing now is perhaps the start of the alt season, but not the actual alt season. Alt season will begin when we get back into this channel, and especially if we go break down from there, it will go into hyperdrive. Anyway, so that is basically the situation with alts and the altcoins in general, and that's what we're looking at. We're looking for this to break down now. Because it's a descending channel, I can't give you an exact price target, but what I would say is that closures on a daily below 67% dominance is going to start picking up some massive pace on these altcoins. One thing that might work against us is this. This is the Dixie chart, or the dollar index. Now I and everybody, I suppose, is bearish on this chart, and there's a good reason to be bearish on it, is because it's a bearish chart. There's no other way to look at it. This chart is bearish. We'll look at it on the monthly. So what I see is going on here is that this is a giant consolidation from this rally here, and this is a monthly chart, right? So this was the last time Bitcoin put in its all-time high, and this is as of the moment, Bitcoin's put in a new all-time high already. Last time we bounced from there, but last time we weren't going through an economic crisis like what we are doing right now. We are in an economic crisis. So we look at all these indicators. MACD's down on every single time frame, every single one. But I would say if we go to the lower term time frames, there is a chance that we do a little bounce, and the bounce, in my opinion, could take us up to roughly about 91, and if that is the case, then altcoins, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, commodities and stocks will all feel a little bit of a dump, just a little bit of a dump, but a dump nevertheless. Now that's only 1%, just over 1% of a move if it were to do that, which I think it will do that, but that could cause a 10% drop, possibly in Bitcoin, a possible 10% drop in Bitcoin. But with the amount of money and the amount of tether that's getting printed out of thin air, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is more than likely to persevere throughout all of that and continue. It's just something to be aware of. Now, if you're trading forex and things, obviously these are, I don't trade forex regularly, but I do have a short on the pound. So I am relatively confident that we will find a bounce on this area, and I'm just letting you know that there will be an impact on cryptocurrencies as a result of that bounce. But this isn't going to be anywhere near a reversal bounce. This is just going to be, I suppose, a dead cat bounce. and then it will continue back down into the 80s, which is where I imagine it's gonna stay for the vast majority, if not the entire of 2021, and probably beyond. Right, so let's actually have a look at some cryptocurrency, shall we? So this, we'll get out the 15-minute chart, we'll go onto the daily. This is Bitcoin on the daily. Again, as you can see, holding up on the moving averages, everything's looking good still, bouncing all the way up. And then when we broke down the other day, we closed above the 10, and we closed above the 7 simple. We also closed above today, and we will likely continue to close above those. Now, if we start to break down and close below this white one here, which is the 7 simple, and the 10 exponential, then yeah, we will likely come down to around about 26,000, 27,000, and again, that's no big problem either. We'll probably find a really good bounce from those levels. This all is perfectly normal and perfectly fine. I don't have any reason to call that this is the absolute top or anything like that. Now, on my video the other day, I did say that this is an interesting thing to look at, which is the money flow index on the weekly. This was our top, and this isn't as high as these two tops, despite the price being a lot higher than both of these tops. Basically, what this means is that the money that's been going into this is a lot more constructive, slower paced, easily spread, and even though we are forming a considerable high on that money flow index, it does have the ability to overreach again. If you look at the way that these are, that is not normal. The way that's just a giant leap up. Again, with this one, a giant leap up. This one is a much more staggered and normal approach. Now, if we do end up collapsing and coming back down on this, I would say that there seems to be a very clear trend line as to where this would bounce from if we were to break down. I'd be looking for the money flow index to bounce on this trend line, and at that point I would be looking to say, now is the time to get back in for the long term. But for the moment, it looks very toppy, even though we can overextend definitely further. But you know, we're close to that 95% read, which is pretty much a warning sign. So we can cool off, which is what we're doing right now. We're cooling off. This is a weekly signature here, so this is very lagging, but it is also very important. Anyway, we can cool off on Bitcoin and we can ramp up on some of these coins. So what I would say is that when we're looking at XRP, you know, I have a very clear rule, which is that I'm not going to get super turbo bullish until we reclaim the 200 exponential moving average, which is roughly around about 32 cents. Once we get above 32 cents, moves like this is more than likely going to be possible. You could consider where we are at right now as a new accumulation zone, as this was an accumulation zone here, where we were below all major moving averages, but we accumulated because we were above this. I'll make this look bigger. This was the descending trend line, which was the consolidation phase. We broke out of that. We reaccumulated around about these levels. And the thing about accumulation is it happens. The way it usually works is it meanders above and below supports and resistances, making it harder to trade. So it's not really a place to be going long or going short, because the opportunities aren't very clear. You don't have the edge. But what you can do is you can accumulate in an accumulation zone. I know it sounds crazy, but that's, I suppose, what it's about. You're supposed to accumulate during those zones. So the thing is, we are now above the 7 simple moving average, but below the 10 exponential moving average, which is definitely an area of complete, no man's land. It's showing signs of not complete weakness, that maybe the absolute dump is completely in. We probably won't go lower than this zone here, which interestingly enough was the bottom of the accumulation zone over here. So there is confluence to this chart, but we are being held below all these moving averages plus these resistances as well. So accumulate if you want to. I don't see a problem with accumulating down here, and I've started already. I'm not going crazy, but I am accumulating. I don't see a problem with it. I actually think that once this is all over, we will be back on track. I mean, personally, I didn't expect for XRP to make a move like this until between January to May, and it's only from later on in the year, this year, this is going by the market cycle of XRP, that the biggest moves are going to be taking place. So being back down in these levels, I suppose you could consider as a bit of a gift, because the moves are yet to be had. The market cycle itself dictates that the biggest moves are going to be at the end of this year, after May. So accumulate if you want. It's completely up to you. I'm no financial advisor, but as far as the market cycle is concerned, my original thoughts on it have been completely unchanged. This move here might seem, I suppose, like a warning signal to most people, saying don't buy this because look at what happened. But I'm also telling you that if you watch my video on the market cycle, before we had the big breakout, we had a fake out, and this is very much like exactly what happened in the last market cycle 4 years ago, where we had a giant fake out, a retrace, a reaccumulation zone, and then we rallied roughly about 2,500% in about 6 weeks. And I think that is still completely on the cards. I've got no reason to dispute it, because with or without the news that came out about SEC being a problem, it's actually, if I was to look at this chart, I would say, yeah, that's about right. That is about right. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'd expect to see. Even though this happened a little sooner than I expected, it is pretty much what I'd expect to see. So I'm unchanged on my views of XRP, with or without the problems it's facing with the SEC. And finally, just before we go any further, I'll show you my thoughts on EOS. EOS is basically doing exactly what XRP has done, apart from it's behind schedule. We have a top, a rejection, a rejection, a rejection, and now we've broken out of the consolidation phase. We are in what's known as the accumulation phase, its first accumulation phase. This is what happened with XRP here. We had top, breaking out, accumulation phase. Now what we're looking for is one of these on EOS. So if that is the case, I'll be looking to see this area here taken out, and then this zone here of around about $5.40 taken out. This would be my first target, and this is what I would expect to see. To be honest with you, it's difficult to give a time frame on this, but what we'll do is we'll look on the weekly, because there's one thing that I've been waiting to see and it's not yet taken place, which is this blue cross this red. They're very, very small. You can barely see it. I'll zoom in as much as possible. This is an Ichimoku cloud conversion baseline. Once we get this blue baseline cross the conversion line, this is the signal for, I suppose, a long-term position in EOS. So what you're doing now, I suppose, is going in on this and in a accumulation phase. So it's difficult to trade it. This is what I keep trying to say to people on my Telegram chat. Going long on this one and hoping for a big move is not a gamble, but it's not the wise thing to do. We've not had that signal yet to say that this is now is the time for it to gather the strength. We are getting close to that time. As you can see, we're still beneath a giant red cloud on the weekly, which is basically essentially a giant area of resistance. And once we've had that cross, then things will be a lot better for it, but we haven't had that cross. So for me to go long on this, it's only for a little bit of scalping. When you're in accumulation, it's very difficult to trade it with leverage. You're supposed to be buying it up at this level. You're supposed to be hodling it, accumulating it, buying as much as you can, dollar cost averaging, whatever it is that you want to do, because inevitably what will happen on this chart is that it will perk up, and as we saw the stair steps down, we'll start to see the stair steps back up. So as we see these going down incrementally, we will then start to see these going up incrementally. And I know, it seems a bit weird buying a chart that looks like this. I completely understand why people would want to stay away from it, because what they see is a downwards chart, and they probably think that it's going to continue to go down. And you know what? I don't blame you. It might do if the market is punished for whatever reason. If there's another black swan event, it will break the formation. But as far as this formation is concerned, it's looking good, and this is what I would say is the accumulation zone. Buying in, dollar cost averaging, or whatever it is, and these levels will be rewarded, in the not too distant future as this begins to make stair steps up. So if we have a look at some of these stair steps down, from there down to, I suppose we'll measure it down to there, there's a 75% move, but we're looking to basically start to reverse those. So if we were to say where we are at right now up to there, that's a 100% move. 100% from where we're at right now, that's a 1x, well 2x. So you'll be doubling your money essentially from where we are at right now for the first stair step up. And the second stair step would get you 3x, 200%. So basically, you can see where I'm going with this. Very much the same as how XRP behaved when XRP came out of its accumulation zone. We'll measure it from when we reclaimed the 200 exponential. That was a 54% move, and that's being conservative. I'm measuring it from when we broke out of accumulation, and then when we reaccumulated and got above these moving averages, we went to 100%. So I'm not saying we're going to mimic these moves. What I am saying is that we're going to start to make reversal and stair steps up. Anyway, I'm going to leave that video with you now, but before I do, I just want to bring your attention to Bitsgap. This is something that me and a lot of people are using on my Telegram chat. We've basically allowed these bots to do trading for us. Now, I only have a small percentage of my portfolio in this. Currently, it's just below $10,000. But I should say that when I first started this, you know, I was a little bit hesitant, and I only put in $1,200, and that was less than 3 months ago. So in 3 months, I've basically turned $1,200 into close to 10,000 basically. And the way that this works is I've got tutorials on this, but I would definitely suggest you have a look at it yourself. There's links below. You can set yourself an account up. You get a 14-day free trial, and if you want to go any further, then there is a paid subscription, but it's certainly worth it. As you can see, you know, what have I done? I've increased my entire value of my money there by basically 8 times in 3 months, so you can't go wrong. So what you're seeing here is what's happening is that the bot is basically buying and selling within this entire range. Each red is a sell, each green is a buy, and you can see that this would be completely impossible for a human to make up this amount of trades, but the bot basically does it. And it's basically just since I've had this one going, so 19 days, I've made $1,000 in bot profit, which is basically, you know, my portfolio had gone up by 23% because that's how much Algo and BNB had gone up together, but on top of that, close to $1,000 extra has been made in the form of bot profit in BNB. So I didn't have 23 BNB this time 2 weeks ago. I've now got 23 BNB on top of my my portfolio going up as well. That's what this bot does. It basically accumulates more of whatever it is that you're looking to trade with, whether that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, Binance Coin. I've chosen Binance Coin because I saw it as a decent base pair to be trading against. So strong and going to go up, but not as far as these ones. Now I have had a little bit of an upset with Ocean versus BNB, but this one I do expect to recover. Ocean is one of those tokens that I've been buying lots of on its fundamental basis, not on its chart basis. So I set this bot up because I basically had an enormous amount of Ocean that had accumulated at low levels, and I set the bot up anyway, and it's not really worked out because BNB basically rallied 25% while Ocean didn't. But this one will perk up. But overall, I would say that this is definitely something you want to take advantage of. This is another one that I've got going here. This is Holochain with BNB, and this has been making an enormous amount of buys and sells. This was a much smaller investment than the one I used with Algorand. But I just wanted to show it to you, and if you want to know more, join my Telegram. A lot of us are using the bot trading, and like I say, you can see how it's worked out well for me. If you go back on my videos, you'll see me set up this for the very first time, and I actually allocate my first, it was less than $1,200 to this account. So that's how much I started with, and this is how much I've got at the moment. You know, you can't really go wrong with that, can you? You can't go wrong with that. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there, but thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.